I had gotten a tractor controller to start practicing for Christmas, and this gig was in February. I don't think this is the right place. I'm looking at Google Maps, and there's just like a side door, and I see the bouncer. I'm like, there's no fucking way. This club is above a pizza. Like, that's hilarious.
To the show, everyone. Another episode, and tonight we have Xander Rose. Welcome to the show, buddy. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Nice.
Excited to be here.
Super.
Thanks for coming on, man. I know we've briefly discussed some stuff in the car on the way here, but we're going to start off with where'd you grow up? What was your upbringing like, and how'd you get into the musical journey?
Awesome. Yeah. So I'm from Vancouver, originally from North Vancouver, and what was my growing up experience like? Well, I guess as it relates to music, my mom was like always playing piano all around.
Cool.
And I wasn't really that into music until I went to high school.
Yep.
And my sister was doing choir, and the high school in the area, for some reason, it's a public school, but there was 8 bands and 8 choirs. And there's only like 500 kids in the school. So
my God. So every kid was in a band or something.
Pretty much. Like there was it wasn't like jocks and geeks. There wasn't that dynamic going on. It was like you were either a band kid or a choir kid. And if you did both, it was kind of like,
Was it like the old movie Fame, like where kids were dancing in the hall and stuff? Yeah.
I don't think dance. It wasn't dance, right? So dance wasn't a big part of it. It was just like chamber choir, jazz, and it was very snooty. And we had like a award-winning conductor and stuff.
Wow.
We
that actually sounds amazing. That sounds amazing.
Forward a bit, but like I performed in Carnegie Hall when I was 15 because of that. Like it was incredible, but also somewhat traumatic as an experience. But anyway, so my sister was in choir at that school, and she told me I should join because it was a good way to meet girls. So, so I was like,
how did that work out?
Yeah, so
I
don't think I ever dated a girl. Oh no, I dated one girl from choir. So she wasn't lying, I guess, in that respect. But I ended up joining when I went to high school, and I just like fell in love with it. I just absolutely loved it, and the conductor guy like really wanted to train me to be really good at it. So
was he a mentor kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly, kind of a mentor. But it was more kind of like, have you ever seen the movie Whiplash?
No, I don't think I have actually. No.
Oh, you guys got to watch that movie.
Okay,
it's really good. It's about a drummer, and I forget his name, but the guy who plays J. Jonah Jameson in Spider-Man.
Okay, yeah.
He's like the instructor, and he's like verbally abusive and like throws chairs at his students and stuff. But because he demands like excellence.
Yeah.
It was not as bad as that, but it
borderline.
It was analogistic to that. So it was like, he would just cut people off if they were one note, and like, I think the first day he told us, I'm going to treat you guys like university level vocalists because that's like the caliber,
that's
what I want from you. Yeah. Of course he's dealing with teenagers, so it was like, they're not emotionally prepared or mature enough for that. So by grade 12, I was section leading or TAing 4 different choirs. Mm-hmm. And they were all like the highest level performing ones. So it was like the choirs where it was a group of 15 of us when I was 15 that sang in Carnegie Hall, and we toured China, and we recorded with Disney, all this stuff.
Wow. That's crazy.
Midway through grade 12, I just like broke down, quit all of my choirs and everything, and I like never spoke to the conductor. I was failing a psych class, and the psych teacher was also our counselor, and so she was like, what's going on here? And I explained it to her, and she's like, you got to drop it. And it was weird because after that, like the main 2 girls who were section leading also left, and then the conductor ended up leaving and stuff. So I kind of like single-handedly torpedoed this whole school's music program. But after that, I was looking for another like outlet.
Yeah.
And I was in indie rock bands and stuff throughout high school, and I was getting really into hip hop.
Singing or playing, like
singing, because I was in choir, right? So but I also learned to play guitar, and my friend had showed me Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City album. And I absolutely loved it. I would listen to it constantly. So then I got Fruity Loops and started making hip hop beats. And I wasn't very serious about it until I was 18. I went to Contact Music Festival. And during Oliver Heldens, it was like the best experience of my life. I loved the people dancing out because that was the thing that was missing for me before, was like music was so serious in high school. It was it was very scholarly and professional. And there wasn't a lot of joy in it, I felt like, by the time I ended off that experience. So to me, seeing people dance and enjoy themselves with music, I was like, this is it.
Free.
That's what I want to do.
And be free. Because that's pretty much like, I think, the essence of electronic music. Not all electronic, but mainly. And the way it's created is to express yourself in a free
and like
environment and a free feeling.
The whole, I know it's the idea of like plur and peace, love, unity, respect has become commercialized, and I totally am cognizant of the negative aspects of where the dance music scene is at right now, but the positives of it, at least when I first got exposed, I still do appreciate these positives. Like, I think that's awesome, the body positivity message, feeling comfortable with yourself,
whatever you want to wear, whatever you want to wear.
That's what music's all about, right? And I've got this has been on my mind since you said your sister said to get into choir. You've seen American Pie, right? Because of girls.
Yeah.
So American Pie, when Oz gets in the choir, because he's like, yo, the chicks are loving it, and Stifler tells him to get in there, and he's like, gets in and he ends up being with one of the girls in the choir thing. And they're like, what are you doing in choir? He's like, the chicks are so like... And it just reminded me of the whole American Pie thing. So I was just like, oh, man.
Yeah, it was a good. I mean, like I said, I ended up really enjoying it. So I mean, it was a good way to get me into it.
Yeah, I know we backpedaled a little bit there from what we were saying. Okay. I was just like, that is American.
That's how I would convince all my guy friends when we need more guys to join in. I was just like, think all the girls in our grade are in it. Like, go join.
So doing choir stuff for Disney then, and stuff. What sort of Disney stuff was you in?
We were doing. We were recording like choral backing tracks for versions of the tracks that they would play at Disneyland. So it was like a joint Disneyland trip like you would go for in school, but some of the days were spent in studio and doing choral versions of their like, I think I did a solo for a Lilo and Stitch song.
Really?
But they're not like in the movies. It was just like for
around in the actual park.
Yeah, in the park. Yeah.
That's so cool though.
Yeah, it was
quite the experience.
Cool
Yeah, for sure.
Going back into the indie rock thing then, because that was quite big in the UK around 2007. What sort of bands did you listen to? Was it like the Arctic Monkeys kind of indie rock? And
I was really into Alt J. And the Black Keys. Yeah. Me and my buddy were like the two competing hipster guys in our high school, like always wearing skinny jeans and like fake glasses and shit like that. And we would compete on who could find the more obscure artists. So he discovered the Black Keys before they broke out. I discovered Alt J. I saw Two-Door Cinema Club. That was another one. So all that kind of stuff.
Two-Door Cinema Club with Wicked.
Yeah. J too. I like.
Yeah, I really love Alt J. I think their more recent stuff is a bit almost too experimental for me, but An Awesome Wave album.
Even Vampire Weekend. Loved Vampire Weekend.
Oh yeah, I didn't listen to them as much. I feel like that and like Arctic Monkeys, Arcade Fire was another one where I saw them live at Squamish Valley Music Festival, and I thought, wow, this is sick. That was an amazing lineup. It was Broken Bells, Arctic Monkeys, Arcade Fire, all in a row.
Arctic Monkeys, when I first heard those boys, blew my fucking mind.
Yeah,
For the age they were, when they released their first album, blew my fucking mind. Yeah. The sound that came out of those young boys was just a sound that... It sounded like a band that had been together for fucking years and years and years.
Yeah.
And it was so raw.
Yeah.
Production wise, it sounded amazing. My daughter's 15, almost turning 16. First piece of vinyl I bought her. Yeah. Arctic Monkeys.
Nice.
Actually, to be fair, my wife bought it for her. So kudos to the wife. She hasn't paid for it.
Yeah. That's how I felt listening to Brothers by the Black Keys the first time. It's like, man, this is it's like they've been famous for 20 years, right?
Yeah.
It was such an incredible album.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I love that stuff. If you know Dan Kroll, too, I really liked him.
Dan Kroll, no.
No, he's
no,
very
no,
good.
Dan.
He had a popular
Similar
song.
kind of sound.
Yeah.
It's
indie
rock.
acoustic, electro pop kind of mix. And he came on my radar because they used a remix of one of his songs for the GTA 5 trailer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then I looked up the original. I was like, dude, this guy's shit is really good. So, but yeah, he's dope. He's really good. He's cool music videos too. So
going from this is the Squamish Music Festival, you said?
Yeah, that was in 2014 that I went to that.
2014.
And I went because Eminem was playing.
Yeah.
And my dad and brother were really into, and myself was into Eminem growing up.
Yeah.
So that's another thing too that I appreciate. Like my mom was always playing like classical music and piano all the time. But my dad
was left field as far as that was concerned.
My dad had the most eclectic taste in music. It was wild, and I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, cool.
He listened to, and these were all like artists that I loved growing up. It was like Bob Marley, Jack Johnson, AC/DC, Eminem, 50 Cent.
Wow.
It was just quite all over the place.
That's quite
Pink
the mix.
Floyd,
Yeah.
It was just so like wild. Jack Johnson
totally eclectic.
Yeah, Norah Jones too. We'd always listen to Norah Jones.
That's quite an educational kind of music list there as well, right? I mean, there's Bob Marley.
Yeah, Daft Punk too. You also listen to Daft Punk. Yeah. So that was Daft Punk and Justice were the only electronic acts that I really listened to before I like properly got into dance music.
Yeah.
And when I was in high school, I was such a hipster that I was like, I talked mad shit about EDM and just electronic music generally. I was like, oh, this is like garbage blender music. I think like Skrillex and some other massive artists were playing at Squamish Valley Music Festival, and I just skipped them. I was like, I don't even care about this. Yeah. It wasn't until my buddy like forced me to go to Contact, and I didn't really understand that house music existed. I thought it was all dubstep.
Yeah,
so,
it was all that same thing.
Yeah,
that whole EDM label kind of, I think, for a while was pretty much, this is all electronic music, sounds like this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, fuck me.
Yeah.
It really doesn't.
Yeah,
it really doesn't.
Like when you asked me on the journey back to here, you said, what subgenre of house? Like there's so many subgenres of house now.
Yeah.
It's
subgenres of every little part of it. It's insane. I gave up.
Yeah.
I gave up
the charts, and it's like you start diving into a genre that you're not as familiar with. Like to me, that's like whenever I look at the subgenres of like techno, and I'm just like, there's that much stuff going on.
Yeah, it used to be techno.
Like, I can't even like.
Where do I start? Right.
I can't even get it. And it's the same with like dubstep. Like, you know, you might think, oh, it's all just one thing, and then there's like a million different subgenres in it, and someone who's really into it will be able to tell you all the differences. The same way that me and my buddies who all make house music, we're like pointing out the tiniest differences between
this one and this
house.
one. Yeah.
No, we make like creeper tech house. That's like,
is this a new genre?
Make people leave the club. That's what my buddies say.
Yeah.
So yeah,
because like dubstep came into UK, and then drum and bass is a big thing. Then they started making, I don't know if it's a thing over here or ever touched Canada's soil, but it was called drum step.
Okay.
Which was a mix of the two. Total trippy music, but I don't think it really kicked off. It didn't back in the UK, but
I wonder if that's almost just like,
I wonder what that would be like now.
Dark,
like
drum and bass almost.
I guess so. Yeah, would it be like kind of breakbeaty kind of sound?
Yeah,
but it was like, I was like, what the hell is this? And they're trying to. And then actually started having drum and bass DJs do remixes of like Excision and That's Sick and people like that.
Yeah,
and it's like,
I actually really like that. That's like I have this one dark, deep drum and bass remix of Breathe by The Prodigy.
Oh yeah,
that's my PR song in the gym. Like that just fires me up, and it's like super aggressive sounds, and it's so fast. I'm just like, yeah, let's go.
Well, DJing drum and bass is so fun. Like I don't do it often.
Imagine.
I don't do it often, but I've got my digital vinyl, right?
Yeah.
Every now and again, I've got a whole file full of drum and bass.
Yeah.
And to DJ it, it's a fun thing. Yeah. You're cutting and chopping.
I find like
it's breakbeats, man.
DJing a genre that you're not used to like that can be so much fun. Like anytime I've ever DJ'd like dubstep or hybrid trap, I'm like, oh my god, I feel so much more creative, like unlocking all these transitions that I haven't
that you would
before.
Oh my god,
I would never do normally, because like house. Eventually, you're like, okay, I know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, I know what I'm gonna do. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it gets a bit, I'm on autopilot when I'm DJing for just house music. But yeah, stepping into other genres, you're like, oh my god, this is so cool.
It's fun, right?
Yeah, I would do these like mixes. I lived in Toronto for a year and a half, and I did a mix in anticipation of Escapade Music Festival.
Okay.
I've not heard that one.
It's just like a big commercial. It's kind of like Faded in the Park here.
Oh, yeah.
Just like their biggest, like Tiesto and Loud Luxury would play it.
Okay, so it's big.
Like
it's big.
Yeah. Big headliners and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I made a mix that was just like at least one song from every artist on the lineup.
Nice.
Unless there was an artist I really disliked, then I mixed it. And I think it was like 60 songs in an hour in this mix.
Wow.
Going all the way from 90 BPM to 170 throughout it.
Up and down? Or just
pretty
building
much just up.
Just up.
Really?
Just going up. Yeah.
And that was such a fun challenge.
Fuck yeah,
I think I had to record it 3 times because if I would fuck up halfway through, I would just re-record from the start.
Oh, absolutely.
And going from like future bass to, there was one section with 4B, which is, I forget what that's called, like Brooklyn House or something. 4B?
No.
It's like such a weird.
I feel old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like 4B is actually old though, so I would have thought you would know.
No, fuck. Now I feel even worse.
I forget what that's called, what his style of music's called, but it's a very distinctive genre. It's like 140 BPM, and it's got like an irregular kick pattern that's almost...
It's not quite...
It's almost like triplets. It's
not on the 4x4,
no,
it's off.
Not, yeah. And so, basically going up from like Moonbaton, it was the start of it, because that was like 90 to 110, and then slowly going into house, and then going into that like 4B style stuff, because it's close enough and it's just slightly faster. Yeah. And then ending with trap and the dubstep stuff. That was like the last 15 minutes of that mix was some of the most fun I've ever had DJing, because it was all trap and dubstep, which I never DJ. And it was just like having so much fun cutting between these tracks that a lot of them, like my first time listening to them was like researching for that mix.
Yeah.
I find that a lot of fun.
Is it still available for people to listen to?
Yeah. It's on... I believe it's on YouTube. It did super well on YouTube, especially after the festival. It got like, I think just a couple thousand views beforehand. Yeah. And then afterwards, it's in like tens of thousands.
Nice.
So, it's there. It's on Mixcloud, I believe.
Yeah.
But if you look on YouTube, I think it shows up. So.
Do you have video too, or is it just audio?
No, it's just audio.
Yeah. But the music that you say, it's like the off the beat kind of thing. It kind of sounds like gabba music. Do you know what gabba music is?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah, I went to a festival called...
That's much faster, I think, though.
Gabba's fast.
Gabba's fast.
It's like 180 or something, right?
Yeah, well, I think even 200. I went to a festival called Bangface. It was 200 BPM, but it was all offbeat kind of music, right? And I think Vice did a thing on it. They went to this rave, and he's like, I'm at a gabba rave. And Vice did a thing on it, And everyone's in the swimming pools, and it's trippy music, man.
The like pattern, the kick pattern is boom, 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 boom.
It's just like your mind knows how music should go. Yeah, it does the complete opposite of how it should go in your head, really. And you're just like, oh my god, I don't know if I can compute this.
It's gonna bother me. I'm gonna have to look it up after this. But
it's a wild.
He's like the only famous person who makes that style of music. So. But it's very interesting. Yeah.
So going from the Squamish festival, then was it Contact the first breaking into the electronic?
Yeah. So
journey
it was
of finding it.
2015. So the December 2015 was when I went to Contact the first time. That's when I decided.
That's when you went lights.
Yeah, from because like I said, I had already been experimenting using FL with hip hop beats, and after that I was like, oh, this is what I want to do. This will be my outlet. I went to like a singer-songwriter meetup before I went there, and I was like, oh, I want another outlet, so I'll see, maybe I'll make a band or something. When I started going to university, I went to SFU.
Yeah.
And I met this guy, and we basically just connected because we were like, man, everyone else here is so bad. like I think we both had a very formal classical training. So we knew how to read music, like sheet music and stuff like that. And it was just a lot of amateur people, which is like fine, right? That was the purpose of that club. But it wasn't really what I was looking for. So we just connected at each other on Facebook. And this was in September. And then in December, I go to Contact. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to start DJing. Well, actually, my first instinct was to produce because I didn't really know the difference between DJing and producing. But I thought, I want to make that music, right? So I spent basically like an entire year just learning production. And then I realized, like, okay, you kind of have to DJ to market yourself because people don't know the difference between being a DJ and being a producer. Like the lay person. And that guy I met in my first semester reaches out to me and says, hey, I see that you're making music and stuff. I run an event company. Do you want to open at, what's the bar called in Gastown? Oh, it's Portside.
Okay.
He's like, you can play at 9 p.m. And so I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Like, that's great. And so I bombed, right? Because I'd never played on CDJs. I was just playing on like a tractor controller, practicing at home. And no one was there, so it was fine. And then my second gig, he was like, oh, yeah, we want to book you again. You can open at Celebrities. And so it was like my second month DJ.
And that's like one of the biggest clubs, right? In Vancouver.
That was like, I was like, sick. And you know, before we got on air, that I was talking to you about how you'll get like these little wins and think like, I'm crushing it. I'm doing amazing. It's like, you know, it's been 5 years since that happened. And it's like, I've played celebs since then. But, you know, I think at the time I felt like I was on a way faster trajectory, but everyone's journey is different, right?
Absolutely,
man.
So, but I felt so blessed that I had just made this random connection and they turned out to be like the event company at SFU. So I played with them for a while.
That's super cool.
They did lots of events. And what was really cool, I think the second time I played Celebs, which was maybe 6 months after that, I opened for NOSTALGIX, who's obviously now very famous. And
she's doing quite well. Right? She's bass house music.
Bass house,
she's doing quite well. Yeah.
And so that was you know, I also feel very fortunate that I got to meet her.
Yeah, no doubt.
Before all that, and lots of people in those early days, it's really cool to see a lot of them succeed. And then did a period where this was in end of 2017, early 2018, where I was trying to get more shows because, like I said, people don't really know the difference between producing and DJing. So I feel like they want to see you DJ in social media to like show that you're successful as an artist, even though they don't actually have much to do with each other unless you're like you've really made it as a producer. Then you'll get booked for your own productions, but as a local you're not getting booked as a DJ because of the music you make, you know. So I started working in the hip-hop scene because they were offering a lot more opportunity than in the house music scene. It was they had their residents at Celebs and stuff, and after the guys graduated who ran that company that I was playing for, you know, here and there, they weren't doing events anymore. They started specializing into I don't know if you've heard of the company. Now it's called DJing.ca.
No.
DJing.ca? No.
It's like the Uber of DJing, but they focus almost entirely on like weddings and stuff like that, because that's where the money is, right?
For sure, man. Wedding DJs and event DJs.
Yeah. So
you can earn a good living out of
that.
Doing that.
It's a whole different thing. It's different. It's a different animal, but
so that opportunity kind of got not taken away, but you know what I mean. It didn't exist anymore because they were specialized in that. They weren't throwing parties anymore for university students. So I started doing the hip hop thing, and that was amazing. That was like 6 of the funnest months of my life in the hip hop scene. I wish that I could have been playing house music because that's what I was making the whole time.
Yeah.
But man, that community is so supportive.
Do you think it's a bigger community, the hip hop scene in Vancouver?
In Vancouver?
Than
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think dance music's only starting to
really
get to that same level, because before it was really just like MIA, but MIA kept shutting down and changing nights, and one of the hip hop nights we ran was Friday nights at MIA.
Yeah.
And literally when I was doing street promotion for it, I would have to convince people that they were actually doing hip hop at MIA because it was regarded as the techno house club.
Yeah.
I was like, not on Fridays. On Fridays we do hip hop, right? So it was just really MIA and then Celebs, but Celebs is like top 40 it's not just dance music, right? It's all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely feel like hip hop is more dominant. There's a lot more smaller venues that do hip hop.
Yeah.
And make a,
I can see that. I can see the kind of the demographic of the people that live in Vancouver, that would be a more popular music.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I think it's just one of those things where it's a chicken or the egg, where it's like, how do you expose them to new kinds of music that they don't know they want? And so no one wants to take the risks, to do that. And right now I kind of like where the scene is at, where it is a lot of these like illegal events and underground stuff, and the people who are liking the music are showing up. I obviously would love for it to get bigger, because it'd be sick to see massive
big
house
names
acts playing
coming
in an official venue with locals who make that kind of music supporting, right? So that would be the dream.
Yeah, absolutely.
There is a John Digweed is coming to Vancouver soon.
Where's he going to play?
Open Studios, I think.
Is he really?
Yeah, I think so.
Fuck, I think I will be at that show.
But we're going to go back to your first DJ gig then. How was that experience? Because obviously you said you said it was like, not many people on the dance floor.
Yeah.
But then you're kind of filling it out, trying to get people on, but also not to try and build up the night.
Mistake I made was that I pre-planned my set. Okay. And so I pre-planned all the transitions I was going to do. Yeah. And of course, the second you mess one up, then, this was like literally, I had gotten a tractor controller to start practicing for Christmas. And this gig was in February at the start of February. So I've been practicing for less than 2 months. Yeah. Basically like a month. And I was like, okay, I need to plan out my transition so that I don't screw up and stuff. I thought that was the way to avoid failure. Of course, playing on CDJs for the first time, I'm like, why are all the buttons different? I don't have this knob and stuff. And so it was just a disaster, right? And that taught me the lesson of never pre-plan your sets, right? like come with more music than you need and have a general idea of what kind of set you want to play, but you need to be responsive to the dance floor, right?
That's a great point, and it's something we ask quite a lot of the guests we've had on is, do you pre-plan the set? Obviously not anymore.
Yeah, no, I haven't since that.
Right? Some people do, and there's nothing wrong with it, right? It's, some great artists, they pretty much go in, they know the crowd they're going to be going and playing for, and once they're a bigger name maybe, then the people are expecting that from them anyway.
Yeah.
But for me, my past experience, which isn't anything on high levels at all, but the ability to just like take more than you need.
Yeah.
You know roughly what goes with what.
Yeah, yeah.
You know your tunes. You know where the breaks are.
Yeah.
Right? You know where the drops are.
Yeah.
You know where you got vocal breaks. You know where you can do your transitions. And to be able to blend. And again, doing back-to-backs with people.
Yeah.
We were talking about it the other night. We used to fuck with each other. You try and play something hard to mix into. You know what I mean? So the next guy's like, what the fuck, man? Really? You left me with that? And you're like, yeah, bro, have good luck with that one.
Oh, man.
Right?
Playing back-to-backs, too, is like the most fun experience.
I love it. I love it. I thrive on that, man.
I've been doing a lot of back-to-backs with my buddy Devin, because we have his DJ name's Hippie Flip. He was playing last night. I was out of show.
Hippie Flip. Does he run his own events as well?
Yeah, he's part of the Moss team.
Okay, yeah.
With Keep Six. Those
guys.
Yeah, so we have a song coming out together next month, December 10th.
Cool.
Him and I. And he was one of my roommates as well for a year. We all lived in this house together, a bunch of DJs. And we did a couple back-to-backs during COVID on live streams and stuff. And it was like the most fun I've ever had DJing. Like, we were just vibing off each other.
Yeah, just bouncing off each other, right?
Yeah, it was so much fun. So
yeah, man.
I absolutely love that,
Yeah.
And then going from the first DJ gig you did to the second one, which was MIA.
No, Celebs. The second one was
Celebs, sorry. To Celebs. How did you learn for the Celebs one? You know, like, okay, this was how it went. You know, I kind of went prepared, and then you've got the Celebs one. Yeah. You know, which is going from a little bar pub thing to a quite major club.
Yeah,
you know?
I was still only opening, so there's barely any people in there. But I learned the lesson. Right? It was don't don't plan out your transitions and stuff. Also, don't do very complicated transitions. That, like, after that initial gig, I looked at my Traktor controller and I said, I'm only going to use anything on this that is on CDJs. So basically, don't use effects at all. Don't use, like, Traktor has these knobs where you can set a skip length and then another knob to, like, seek through the track, rather than just having the button and hearing by your ear, right? And so I learned, like, no, I have to be so on top of being able to count in my head. And, you know, I could already tell, like, I could already feel the beat and sentencing and stuff like that from my music background. But I realized, like, I can't rely on these specialty features. I need to be able to do things as if I'm on CDJs when I'm practicing. So I learned to do that, and I kept things very basic. Didn't try to do any crazy transitions. Yeah. And I went way better. So
yeah.
I throw this dirty little question out all the time. Have you ever had to go on vinyl? Have you ever had to go on turntables?
I've never done it, no.
No?
Yeah. I had my mentor when I was in the hip-hop scene he would spin on, like, digital vinyl, though. Like,
yes, I have that.
Yeah.
So but I still have all my old vinyl, too.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. And again, it's just, I find it interesting. Like,
it's very cool.
What equipment did you start with? I've used controllers too.
Yeah.
I don't have much experience with CDJs. Brad, you do, right? I don't personally. I've touched them and had a little go.
Yeah.
But I've played on quite a few different controllers when they first came out.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I just always find it interesting. Like, you know.
Yeah, I think, like, for me, I like the look of vinyl. I think it's cool when people are doing it. And when I was in the hip hop scene, there was such a focus on being really good at DJing because none of them were really producers, right?
Yeah.
So, like, my one buddy, Lupo, he would always show me these, like, crazy vocal transitions that he would do. And with hip-hop music, it's all about finding what's the small parts of the song that doesn't have a vocal.
Yes.
Or that you can twist in a way to do, like, a vocal transition where it's, okay, this song has this hook.
You've got that little bit.
To this other one, right?
Yeah.
So, stuff like that, I really respect and thought was so cool, and scratching and all that. Personally, I just am not interested in learning much of it, like, because I'm just so focused on producing. I'm like, that's for me what it's always been about, is actually making the
music. For sure. I actually really am quite interested in buying some CDJs myself at the get I said for a while.
Got one here for sale if you want it.
Yeah, no, I think that one's a bit. That one might be a bit out of
this
date, Brad.
Try to get one more zero on there.
Yeah, right. And Nexus.
I could draw it on.
And throw Nexus on the end.
2 to a 3 now.
I could just put my iPad on it and then put an extra 0, and that could be the Wish version of the CDJ.
Put a little sticker, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That'd be funny.
So going from celebrities, then, what other clubs? What's the most favourite club you've played in Vancouver, or the best sort of
sound system, maybe?
Sound
system, vibe,
which
club.
One stood out to you the most?
That's the thing.
That's a good question.
As fun as celebs is to play, playing it when it's empty, like opening, is awful because of the lack of sound dampening.
Yeah,
there's
really.
No crowd,
so
it sounds like you're DJing so terribly. You're like, I can't trust any transition I'm doing right
now.
The reflections of the sounds in it. It's nuts. So, but I'm trying to think. Yeah, like what my favorite gigs have been like. Honestly, this illegal show we did in August was really fun. This bush rave that we did, that was like, that was so much fun. And related to like planning the sets and stuff. Like now, my style, I try to play a lot of originals, right? So, but I've made everything from what is more like what I would call tech house to extremely aggressive bass house. And so I do need to find a way to get through those energy levels. So normally I'll sort, like, if I'm playing an hour-long set, like 80 songs, 60 to 80 songs, and I'll pre-sort them by like their energy level and how I think the flow would go, and then I'll just skip over ones where I'm like, okay, the crowd's not really feeling this, but it needs to be broken into those sections at least for me to kind of have a guide,
the flow,
a flow to it, so I'm not just hopping around to completely different areas. But that was one of those shows where I played probably over half the songs I played were originals, and people were just going nuts. People coming up to me afterwards talking about how great it was, asking me if I can show them stuff in the studio, and I was just like, Oh, I felt like $1 million.
I was going to say that must be a nice feeling, right?
Yeah.
That first gig wasn't a bad experience because it made you realize that you can plan the set, and then obviously you can skip a couple. And
I think a lot of my club gigs have been. I was playing university parties where it was like a theme or something like that, and so honestly, a lot of the club shows I played weren't a ton of fun from the perspective of like the music I was actually playing. Like it's nice to play in a really cool venue and there'd be lots of people and stuff, but when there's those types of restrictions and I know people aren't there for the kind of music that I make and want to play, it's just different, right? Whereas playing these like underground shows
where you can play what you want,
pretty much. People are there, like, and it's a kind of a surreal feeling, and I don't really believe it a lot of the times that this happens when I'm like out or playing one of those underground shows and people like know who I am and like I don't know who they are kind of thing. It's like I don't really believe it. Like I met someone last night and they were like, oh, I'm really disappointed that you're not playing, like I really love your sets and stuff, and I was like, really? Like I was like, you've listened to my sets before? I was like, okay, that's interesting. Like I don't know. I feel it doesn't feel real like that.
Yeah,
shouldn't be happening necessarily. So, and
again, we were talking on the way over. The whole underground illegal parties is part of the roots of where all this came from.
Yeah,
like you look back at the roots of electronic music, and the warehouse parties in Chicago, Detroit, fucking all those areas when it first kicked off. New York, and going on to England via Ibiza. It was all illegal and underground. It was all people putting on parties where they shouldn't be. And doing it when they shouldn't be doing it, and breaking in and doing stuff and using power that wasn't theirs to use. Like that's a part of it. And I love that part of it. And
and that anyone there is like they're taking a risk. They're not really taking a risk. Obviously they're not organizing or whatever, but they're doing something abnormal instead of just going to a regular club or whatever. That's like the safe option. They're
kind of
so they're there for they're there for the music.
They've come for the music.
They're gonna love it.
They've come to.
That's an awesome feeling. I love
absolutely.
that.
Yeah, man. And I think even the guy playing the music, that makes you feel better. But even being a punter on the crowd, someone there, that makes you feel even better there because everyone that's there is on the same wavelength. You're all there for the same reason. Right? Yeah, it's not to look great. It's not to be in the best club in the world. Nah, man, I'm in some shitty little unit underneath a fucking railway bridge or something. You know what I mean?
No, exactly. Yeah, and that was like before when I was talking about I've become more privy to like negative parts of the commercial side of the industry, especially like one thing that started bothering me a lot more was when I was playing university parties or going to a commercial rave and stuff. It's like I felt like there was a lot of this performative aspect of guys going there expressly to hook up with girls, not because they actually give a shit about
the way you're the way you're dressed,
the way they're dressed, the way you're gonna look, the selfies you're gonna take,
and
right,
equally girls having a performative aspect of just like the guys, they might not even know the artist playing, and they're just doing it to get social media content to like flex on their friends, right? And so I got a bit jaded about that, where and I would see that at a commercial club too, where you're like, I don't feel like the people are really here.
They're really here.
They're here to get fucked up, or
for the reason that I'd like them to be here.
Yeah, exactly.
Not necessarily the right reason, but the reason that I'd really like them to be here isn't that reason.
Yeah, and I guess like that needs to be something that's accessible to people, because like I like getting drunk occasionally, or and so I like doing that too. So I get why other people would want to do that, but as an artist, it does feel like I want a space. I want to know I can go to shows where there's going to be people who appreciate what's happening musically.
Yeah, absolutely. Like-minded folk that are there for the same kind of reason you are, be it a performer or, like I said, a guest. Because without the guests that are really like into it, you could be the best performer in the world. It could still
be an empty room. It's
you know what I mean? Like, so
I mean, for going from obviously bush parties and DJing in clubs, and have you played any festivals?
No. Well, no. Just I don't think I wouldn't really count this, but did you hear of Impact Festival?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was not the year it was physical. I volunteered that year, and then I was on kind of like the organizing committee for last year, but then COVID happened, so we canceled the physical festival. So I would have played it if it was physical, but I ended up playing the virtual version. But they had
still part of it.
Yeah, they had a really awesome stage setup and stuff in this warehouse. And we've done some other underground shows like not tied to Impact there.
Yeah,
that have been really cool with like Keepsakes, those guys. Yeah. So yeah, I played that, but nothing else, I don't think.
So with regards to...
I played House of Panda. Sorry to cut you off. I played House of Panda also did like a...
House of Panda?
Yeah. If you heard of Speed
House of Pants, I was like...
No, House of Panda.
House of Panda. So he pioneered the subgenre Speed House, which is just bass house at 140 BPM, basically. And he has a whole label for it. If you know Tommy Sunshine, he kind of like co-signs House of Panda. He does... Tommy Sunshine runs Brooklyn Fire Records.
No, I haven't heard that.
He's an OG, like super old hippie raver guy.
Yeah.
So he kind of co-signs House of Panda. He was like his mentor and stuff, and he's got a whole label for it. So Seb C and I, we released on House of Panda's label this song called Party Party, and so he had us play his what was it called? Speed World. I think it was like the third one they did, and it was a virtual festival like that. Yeah, and it was pretty cool. Seb and I set up at Queen Elizabeth Park, I think it was. We set up like turntables and stuff, the Canadian flag in the background, nice. And there's all these like tourists coming around and saying hi. That's cool. So yeah, that was a really fun festival, but no physical ones. Yeah, mostly because of COVID.
Yeah. So, what would be the best party you've attended? The best festival, club? What would be the best
not
one?
Not played at, like actually just attended?
Yeah, I mean, like
not played at, just attended,
DJing, but the one that you've attended, yeah, for sure, would be the best one.
There's a ton, so it's hard to pin down. One that sticks in my mind. This is very like commercial, but I won Instagram free tickets on Instagram to a DJ Snake pool party in Toronto.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
And I had flight paid as well and all that?
No, I was living in Toronto at the time.
Okay, sorry.
I lived in Toronto for a year and a half.
Yeah.
So this was after my stint as a hip hop DJ. The reason I stopped that was because I moved to Toronto in 2018 for a job for just over a year. Yep. And actually, that was a very tough decision because I thought I was screwing over my DJ career and stuff. Yeah, and I was very worried about it. But my hip hop mentor basically told me the night before I had to make a decision, I was not going to accept the job, and he convinced me like at the club Saturday night, and I had to give an answer Sunday morning at like 2 a.m. Basically, he convinced me to take it. Fun, So I was corrupting my one coworker. Because she was from Turkey, she's from Istanbul, and I was introducing her to like raving and clubbing and stuff. And so I took her to the DJ Snake pool party because she was very sociable and like going out and stuff. And it was just like we felt like complete fish out of water. It was an all white party. It was launching this this like club extension to the main club Rebel in Toronto. They were launching like a pool party day club next to it. Yeah. And it was just all these people who were clearly like super rich, and we were like just kind of chilled there and very excited for DJ Snake. People are trying to flex on us, giving us like all these drinks and stuff, and we're like, oh, this is so awesome. DJ Snake comes on and plays like the hardest, most aggressive set at 5 p.m. and the sun is still out in the summer. It was just nuts. I was like, oh man, it was so much fun because I assumed he would play like some kind of lighter set. Since it was the middle of the day. Nope, he was like, it was like he was experimenting with like the most aggressive music he could
get away with.
Yeah, like okay, this isn't one of my massive festival sets, so I don't need to play my songs with Justin Bieber or whatever. He was just like, no, I'm just gonna play the weirdest, crazy stuff, and I was loving it. So that was an awesome party. Yeah.
That's cool. What's the sound of the music scenes or the types of music scenes different from the West Coast to the East Coast in electronic music, would you say?
In electronic music? I don't know. I feel like
is it like more of a housey vibe there, techno vibe?
I feel like Toronto is so dominated by hip hop, right?
Really?
Yeah, because there's so many famous acts like Drake that have come out of there.
Yeah,
and like there's lots of pop acts, right? Like Justin Bieber came from Ontario as well. So,
Justin Bieber?
Yeah,
who's that guy?
Like, I'm trying to think of Ontarian electronic acts. It's like dubs, but they don't make their own music, so they don't count. And Loud Luxury, right? So that kind of like Tiesto sound of like what's called slap house, I think people call it. Like very poppy style. So I think that's the vibe there. But I didn't really get into their local scene. I went to their version of MIA a lot because Mala played there, and it's hilarious. It's called Coda, and it's above a pizza. And so I got dropped off right there. I got dropped off by the Uber, and I was like, I don't think this is the right place. I'm looking at Google Maps, and there's just like a side door, and I see the bouncer. I'm like, there's no fucking way. This club is above a pizza. Like, that's hilarious.
Was it good though?
Oh, it was good. That was my favorite club. That was the underground one, tiny boiler room vibe. Like this close to Malo. And then he played Pizza, his remix of Pizza by Chris Lorenzo, and I was like, this is so on brand for what's going on here.
He should have done a pizza remix.
He should have gotten a slice for when he dropped it.
This is my pizza remix.
So bad jokes coming out. So talking about music releases now. You've obviously had quite a few releases. What was the first track that you made, and what was the process of making that track?
The first track I made, I'm trying to think of. So like, because I first got into it from Oliver Heldens, I was very influenced by like TCHAMI as well. I was making like future house, more like upbeat and stuff, but then when I heard Mala for the first time, I was like, that's the music I want to make. So I kind of pivoted into making more darker, aggressive G house, bass house kind of stuff. So the first song that I made when I was going in that direction was a remix of, have you heard of the rapper Crescent?
Yes.
Yeah, he's an Afghan Canadian rapper. Yeah. And so he's very, very popular with the Afghan diaspora. And he does like lots of kind of protest songs and stuff about that. But I'd become friends with him because I was in an Instagram marketing pod. So this was the guy who ran that event company who I connected with. He invited me to this Instagram marketing pod. And I find it hilarious how like these little connections end up giving massive opportunity in the future. So I met Crescent through that. It was before he like blew up. And he released the song that he blew up from was called In Your Place. And the music video has like millions of views on YouTube and stuff. And I asked him if I could remix it because we were buddies, and he said sure. So I made like a G house version of it that's very derivative of Notorious by Mala. You know, the NOTORO, that song. Yeah. And it's just like almost a copycat of it. Like looking back on it now, but you know, that did super well. It was like it got put in a bunch of Spotify playlists, like bangers and stuff, and that was another instance where I thought, I've made it. And making it, when I first asked him to do it, I made two versions of it. One was like almost it was trying to retain the original tempo, and then in the drop speeding it up and almost doing like a Tiesto festival house. And then I made the G house version of it where it's house the entire way through. Yeah. And I think one thing that I need to keep in mind more from that experience, and I forget to do it all the time, but is like makes so many different versions of songs, like just throw shit at the wall, see what sticks type of thing. And I have buddies who are really good at that, and I always have to remind myself, like, don't get tunnel visioned on one idea that you're doing with a song, right? Like you need to just
spitball,
experiment, do weird stuff. Like my next release with Hippie Flip, we were trying to do a UK bass line, and it was all just like I make fun of it, calling it like it sounds like a dog barking. It's like womp 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 womp, that kind of stuff.
The womp.
Yeah, that was like the whole melody was just all that constantly, and I just wasn't really feeling it. So one day I went in and I made it a call and response between that and like a sustained bass house bass, and that ended up sounding way better. So we ended up going with that, and that's the final release. And I was like, man, I need to get into that mode more when I'm not married to my ideas as much. Yeah. And I just fuck around more because that always makes the best product. So
Yeah,
yeah. I think
you've talked about it before as well. There's many an artist that, you know, just wing it, make the track real quick, boom, 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 done, right? Spitball it, throw it together. Don't focus too much. Like you said, you know, like you said, Brad, you've talked about it a few times.
Yeah, I think the best ideas are the ones that you first come up with and you don't change it. Because when you overthink it too much, that's when you change it completely 180, flip it to the original sound that you actually enjoyed. Yeah. And I've found them, we always ask these people, and I'm going to ask you the same question, but when you make a track, it's always best, I think, to walk away from it once you've made something, to have a break and then go back to it later on. Because you probably, as you know, and when you make music, do you find that once you've made a track, you move away, you've made a bundle, like, you know, you've just gone at it, you go back to it like a few weeks later and you think, fuck, this is actually really fucking good, I like this. But then 3 hours into it, you're like, oh, I fucking hate this song. When you originally first
if you're like you stop being able to hear it objectively if you're working on something too long, so you definitely need to get space from it. And like, I'm having this problem right now where I've been working on a track for months, and it's been taking months because there's 2 vocalists on it, and so, you know, it took a long time to get those vocals and stuff, and I've been mixing it, and I did like what I wanted to be the final master, but I sent it to my buddy because I was like, I can't even reference, like on this track I was doing reference mastering to a Tiesto tune, and I was like, I can't even hear my song correctly anymore, like I have no idea, like I'm comparing the EQs and stuff, and I was like, I don't know if the bass sounds clean or not, and I was like, I need someone else to listen to this to let me know, because like I've been listening to that song for months now. I just can't hear it properly anymore. So, but on the topic of like sticking to your ideas and stuff like that, I find personally I have to follow my initial inspiration. And anytime I'm forcing stuff where I'm like, I'm gonna go into a session to make a bass house song that sounds like this, and it just never goes well at all. Like I have to be like directly inspired, and then I can work super quickly and realize my ideas really well. Like I released this bootleg of a Billie Eilish song where that was the process. And
which track?
It's shit, what is the song called? I'm not your fan, so anything, damn, the man. I think therefore I am. That's what it's called. Okay, yeah. And also, when I do that, I think I make my best product because I'm not worried about what genre it is and stuff. I'm just making house music and the stuff that I want to make, and that's like all my best quality productions have been when I'm not placing the like expectation and requirement on myself of I need to make this thing in the end of it. I'm just going into it off of pure inspiration. So
that's what when me and Craig, like we discussed on the trip here as well, is we ask the questions of how you make music, because like we spoke about, you know, the way you do it might benefit someone on how they want to make it, because not everyone's mindset's the same. And when you make your mindset might suit someone else's, where the way I don't know, Hippie Flip makes his music might suit someone else. So that's why I asked the question. And my other question would be is, how would you start a track to near on finish it? Like, what would you start with? Would it be the kick? Would it be the lead? Would it be
what I do a lot now is, and related to that, what I was just talking about there is like, if I try to start a track by doing percussion, and like I find percussion very easy to program, and then start going into like sound design with basses and stuff,
bassline,
I go in circles where I'm like not making something that's very inspired, right? What I've realized in probably the last like 6 months is I need to start with a sample or something that inspires me. So when I'm doing these remixes, I find it very easy to be inspired, and a lot of my best work has been remixes. So like this, I'm wearing St. Punk merch here because I placed in his remix contest, and I just find like when I have something to go off of, they could just literally only give me a vocal, like with that Billie Eilish like I did. But I'll have all my ideas that I want to realize. And so if I don't have something to build off of, I find it really hard to make something that I like. So like this song I've been working on with these 2 vocalists, I just went through Splice and found like melodic samples. It's based off of like a Latin guitar riff basically, and then just fuck with that, and I can base everything else around that. Then I can hear, okay, what the sound design of the bass should sound like and what the melody should be. And like I said, I find doing drums really easy, so like I can put drums under something in minutes. But that's what I've realized is like I go and look, if I'm making an aggressive thing, I'll go and look into trap and dubstep leads and then slow them down to house and fuck with them and then pair them with like bass house basses as a way to get inspiration.
Because I find a lot of in drum and bass, the sounds they use in drum and bass, they use a lot in bassline, UK bassline, and bass house, right? The real 1P, like synthy kind of sounds, right? So what software do you use?
I was just about to ask that. That's okay. I literally, I was sat there, I was like, I'm going to wait for Brad to finish, and then I'm going to ask. It's all good. It's all good. Actually, I was going to say, so you started with Fruity Loops.
So I still use FL,
Do you really?
I still use FL,
Yeah.
I think Ableton is a better software, especially when it comes to vocal manipulation. I'm always so envious when I see, like, I'll watch like a Zen World tutorial or something, and he's able to just fucking stretch based off of the syllable in this vocal sample, and I'm like, man, working with vocals is such a huge pain in FL. It sucks. So, and I've been doing this track with 2 vocalists, and so I've just been going through this absolute, dread of working with vocals in FL. It sucks, but I'm so locked in on the workflow at this point. I'm like, there's no way I can switch. It's just my hands are on autopilot when I'm in FL, so I can't move away from that. And then I use Serum for my main synth. Yeah, pretty much all of mine.
Serum's real popular and good.
Yeah. There's just so many resources for it, right? Like, and I actually understand the synth. I think because it's visual, like, because Massive used to be the thing when I first started. Everything was in Massive, and it's hard to see like what the knobs are doing, when you're adjusting ADSR, whereas like on Serum you can actually see the envelope visually. And it's like, okay, I understand how I modify this, how it will impact the sound. So I actually understand Serum deeply enough that I can do original sound design, and I feel very confident in changing presets and making them my own and stuff. Like I don't feel limited by it like I would in other synths. So it does everything I could need. And honestly, but outside of that, a lot of it is in post-processing of samples and stuff. So like I use Serum Effects Rack all the time. I use Sausage Fattener a lot, which I think a lot of people do.
I actually played
a lot of bass house guys.
I think I threw that onto one of my doors once, actually.
It is fun to see the little sausage guy get. I use like a lot of vocal processing plugins as well. So like CLA Vocals is the main one, but just a bunch of random shit.
Do you have any hardware at all? Do you use any at all, or are you straight up just
my computer? Yeah, purely that. I wouldn't have the room for hardware in my tiny apartment now, anyways. So and I left my guitars at my parents' place. I used to do some integration of, like, I have an electric guitar as well. Actually, this is a bit off topic, but me and my sister, for my parents' anniversary, recorded a whole album of their favorite songs.
That's so cool.
And I mixed it all. And what was really funny, we did like a Coldplay cover, and I bought a Serum pack that was all like orchestral instruments and stuff. So I do the whole melodies and all that. I look them up online, like the sheet music, and we show it to our parents, and they're like, which of your friends plays the violin? I go, my computer. Which of your friends plays? This is my computer. They're like, oh my god! Like, I was like, only the guitar is live instrumentation, and our voices, everything else I did in the computer.
That's super cool.
She like couldn't understand it.
That's so cool.
Yeah. What's your future plans with your music? Gigs coming up?
So no gigs coming up right now. But next month, December 10th, Hippie Flip and I are releasing a track called In the Bank. I'm actually stoked for this because this is my first time doing a full music video. We did like a little music video for Party with Sub C, but this one is like
proper production.
Concept and
production.
Oh my god, it was so much fun.
Who did you approach to help you with the video?
They're called Trifecta.
Cool.
And Chase Proctor is the main guy there.
Did they recently do Trifecta recently do a video like in the middle of a river or something? Was that Trifecta? I saw something on Instagram. I follow so many people in Vancouver that do music stuff, and I'm trying to pinpoint what.
The main guy who leads it, Chase, I worked with him many times because I met him through Sebsi, and so I've done like photo shoots, and he helped us with the party video and stuff.
And did he come up with the concept for this video? Or
no,
you guys did?
Yeah, Hippie Flip and I did. We went for drinks before going to watch Dune.
That sounds like a good plan.
Did you like the Dune?
Yeah.
Dune was a sick
film.
It
was good. So we had a couple drinks and we went through a whole concept for it, and it's absolutely hilarious, and I cannot wait for people to see it. It's so funny.
That's so cool. And when's the video coming out?
It'll come out on the 10th as well.
Nice.
With the song.
Man of many talents.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's actually part of a sampler of Incursion Recordings, or a UK label. I've released on them before.
Yeah.
And
Incursion.
Incursion.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, no worries. It's a sampler for a collaboration they're doing with Bass House Branch, which is a Discord for bass house producers that I've been in for a long time. There's actually like a couple big names in it, like Danny Time and Kidden, KDYN, who's like 16-year-old famous bass house producer. He's crazy. You guys should look him up. It's wild. He makes amazing music, like signed to all the biggest labels and stuff, and he's 16. It's crazy.
That's nuts.
He's like a new bass house Martin Garrix, right? Yeah. But he's in that, and so I've been in that Discord for many years, and it's cool that like I'm not super active in it, so I was surprised when they're like, we want to tie it to this because I saw you were in the Discord. I was like, sure. So I think there's 4 other songs on that sampler.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah, so I'm very excited for that. It's the big next thing. But I can't tell you how many, works in progress and IDs that I like. This one I just finished. I need to start shipping out to people, and so I'm trying to gear up for a big 2022 right now.
2022. Hopefully, it's a little bit more party friendly than the last 2 years of fucking.
It's gotta be now. Come on, like
it can't be any worse. It can't be any worse.
Country's opening up now. Right? I mean, come on, BC, let's get it going.
Come on, the whole world. Let's just get this going, right?
So, one last question before we finish up. Any advice you would like to give to new producers or new DJs?
That's a great question, Brad.
Yeah, I think for me, it would be like figure out what your priorities are, why you're getting into it. So if you love DJing specifically, like that's awesome, and pursue that. Look into vinyl and how you can find your crowd there. But I feel like in house music especially, it's like if you want to really make it, you've got to be an artist. Which
you got to be a producer. So, you got to be a producer.
Don't rush that. Don't think, oh, I'm getting a little bit of popularity as a DJ, therefore I need to just put stuff out. Or just really focus on producing, because it takes a long time. Like I was doing it for a year before I ever started DJing.
Yeah,
and I don't think I made a production that I'm really proud of until, I don't know, 2 or 3 years into it. Like it takes a long time. I'm still improving a lot, right? And
every day's a school day.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah,
every day's a school day, man.
So like I would really focus on what matters, right? And so if you're trying to make it as this your career and be a famous artist, not that I am, right? I haven't made it, but keep your eye on the prize, which is making music. Don't get swallowed up in the politics or worrying about gigs, because are you trying to be a DJ or are you trying to be an artist, right?
Yeah,
that's what
exactly. I think actually, Xander, that's a great bit of advice, because really I think that's the key to any artist's success, regardless of what it might be, that's your art form, is not really focusing on being famous and getting loads of money. It's about producing good art. Are you going to paint a good painting? Right? Or are you going to paint a painting to make some money? Are you going to make music to make money, or are you going to make fucking good music because it's good music? I think it's the same thing. So I think that's a really great bit of advice you've given out there, mate.
Sure. Really do. Again, adding on to that, I think when people say, I've had people ask me, how should I get into producing? I always say, start with a remix first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think because that's a good base form to work from to get into producing.
Yeah, especially if you find like a remix, and you can find old remix contests. This is what I did when I first started learning how to produce. I would find old remix contests that were closed, just so I could get all the stems from
sound
them
packs.
And analyze what are the parts of songs, right?
Interesting.
The full parts of them.
See,
and
there's
then you
another
do a
good bit of
remix
advice.
and you start learning, I learned a lot from that. And, from doing that, there's even like some samples I kind of just like lifted that I'll reuse.
Just kept them, for sure.
I found this like malimba.
So saying that, can I get some of your stems and your stems?
Like it was like a Shami kalimba or whatever it's called kalimba. I think that's the name of it, right? A kalimba. Yeah. It was like a Shami kalimba that I was like, this is kind of a sick sound, so I used it in my last release called Get Busy because it was like, this is just a cool sound. And like, obviously in context the songs are completely different, so it's not like you notice, right? And it's the same as using a splice sample, so it doesn't really matter. But I found that very helpful in terms of learning the structure of songs. And that's like, there's a lot of learning you can do too, just from analysis, just like listening to tracks, being what are the different components, how does it flow from one section to the next. Like, that would be like my more technical in the weeds feedback. If you're like, okay, I want to be an artist, I need to learn how to produce. Yeah. Treat it like any other skill where you need to
break it down.
School, you gotta do your research,
break down your components.
Yeah, you
figure it out,
and learn as much as possible. I probably watched, I don't know how many hours of YouTube tutorials. And not to like, I don't know. I think there's, I don't want to be like elitist and say like don't go to the school, just teach yourself. As like, you struggle like me kind of thing. But I do caution people about looking at the schooling for like dance music. Because one, I feel like some of them might be kind of scammy. And then two, it's like, this is not going to be something that you're going to see immediate returns from in the short term. So it's not like going to business school. It's not, I'm going to get a job after I graduate.
Absolutely.
Type of thing. So if you're not dedicated to do this without a teacher telling you to, without it being your homework, like you need to be self-motivated to do this. So.
And I think you're right. If you are going to go down that route, you really need to look at who's providing your tuition. Like Sivs did. We talked to Sivs. We did a show with her the other day. We talked about that. She did go and do some schooling training, right?
Yeah,
she went on some courses, right?
Yeah, some big DJs, ethos.
But she went to some big name people.
Yeah.
She didn't just go to like, community college. She actually like did research and
make sure
went
you're
off.
Getting good advice from it. And I just think a big thing is like you need to make sure, because if you're willing to grind through like YouTube tutorials and figuring out how to work your DAW, like that's what the experience of producing is like. It's not very glamorous. It's hours and hours of tweaking, gain staging all your different mixer channels and doing EQ work and isolating frequency. Like it's not sexy at all, right?
No.
And so that's what I worry about, is that a lot of people get into DJing first and then they think, I'm going to start producing.
That sounds like me.
And they think it's going to be as sexy. And honestly, DJing is way sexier than
DJing's fun.
So
playing music in front of people is fun. I like doing
that. The payoff is playing your own music in front of people.
Absolutely, that's the whole difference.
Ever.
It's also a good test to see how it reacts. As well.
Yeah.
So it's definitely worth it. But it is a grind and it's a lot of effort. So make sure that you're in it for that part of it.
For the right reason.
Yeah.
Like I think, we bring up my kid every now and again. I got a 15-year-old daughter. I say that to her all the time. Find what you like doing and commit and, do it the right way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, Xander, thank you so much for coming on the show, mate.
Thanks
for having me. It's been a blast. Hopefully we can come out and see you at a show one day.
And, me and Craig will be coming down.
You guys come downtown, sometime.
It's all mainland, right? It's 30-40 minutes. It's not even that, really, is it?
Or
some bush rave or something.
Or some bush rave somewhere. You never know. We look forward to your tracks.
Thank you.
We'll help promote them when they come out and stuff.
Appreciate
Send us links and we'll do all that stuff.
Awesome,
man. Thank you again.
Thanks very much,
for having me.
Cheers, buddy.